Defecting from North Korea is one of the riskiest things a person can do. Even though South Korea does offer settlement support for North Korean escapees, there is a perilous journey to get from the north to the south. Crossing directly over the inter-Korean border carries the very real and proven risk of being shot by North Korean soldiers. Land routes via other countries are also filled with the danger of repatriation by less sympathetic governments or being trapped by human traffickers. Then there's getting to South Korea by sea, as a group of nearly 10 North Koreans, presumed to be a family, did via a fishing boat earlier this month. But if caught, defectors trying to reach South Korea face particularly harsh punishments, even the death penalty. No easy ways indeed, but there were still more than 1,000 North Korean defectors arriving in South Korea every year for several years until 2020, when the number dropped off dramatically. If you look at the South Korean Unification Ministry's numbers from the last decade, you can see that in 2013, more than 1,500 North Korean defectors did come to South Korea. We know that North Korea did clamp down on defections under the direction of leader Kim Jong-un, but even as the number of North Korean escapees arriving in South Korea gradually fell, it stayed above that 1,000 mark until a sudden fall at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic and the very strict border closures it inspired. From just 229 in 2020, the figure dropped to the 60s over the last couple of years. There is a sign of a rising trend again this year though, as the ministry's data shows 34 North Koreans came to the south during the first 3 months of this year, up from 11 in the same period last year. And while the influx is still relatively low compared with before the pandemic, there's another set of numbers that may suggest the defectors that are getting to the south have a valuable story to tell. A record 64 North Korean defectors received financial rewards last year in exchange for providing valuable information about their former homeland, according to more data from the Unification Ministry, as submitted to lawmaker Kim Sang-hee of the main opposition Democratic Party. This is separate from the housing and other subsidies that are given to North Koreans regardless of any intelligence they might have. Looking back on the number of defectors being offered rewards for information since 2014, it's been no higher than double digits, even when thousands of North Koreans were arriving in South Korea. But last year, while only 67 defectors were able to reach the south, 64 people were rewarded. We don't know what kind of intelligence they had to offer, except that individual rewards ranged between 3 million and 148 million won, making up a total of 398 million won, or around 300,000 US dollars. Admittedly, that's far from the highest reward total on the list, but we still have this unusually high number of rewards last year, and it suggests that the people who escaped had sufficient access to intelligence deemed valuable. They may have had a military, diplomatic, or socially elite background. For context, the high-profile diplomat turned defector turned South Korean lawmaker Tae Yong-ho, who entered South Korea in 2016, is understood to have received a reward of 100 million won. We also have recent defector testimony, which helps us to understand at least some of the motivation driving current escapes. That group of North Koreans I mentioned before, the presumed family who fled aboard a fishing boat, they said they had admired South Korean society after accessing South Korean television content, according to the National Intelligence Service here. We've heard that kind of pull factor before, which is one of the reasons North Korea tries to prevent its people from accessing such content. But the NIS also said they decided to defect as they grew exhausted of the North Korean regime amid tightened social control stemming from the pandemic. Details are always limited in these cases in order to protect the identities of North Korean defectors out of consideration for their safety as well as that of any relatives they may still have in the north. Once this family is done with an initial questioning period and they've confirmed their desire to defect to South Korea, they'll undergo a 12-week resettlement education program geared towards helping them adjust to a very different social system in South Korea. We'll keep looking into the situation facing and surrounding North Korean defectors, and we'd like to keep bringing you news from around the Korean Peninsula, so please like and subscribe and help our channel grow.